KJ Carter-Samuel was an interesting story. He's a guy who ran the triple option in high school. We had him at the Elite 11 quarterback competition, and a guy that really was able to process football well. I thought this was a great place for him to come. Was in the quarterback competition a year ago, and what's impressive is a lot of times quarterbacks who are the same year, right? Jake Browning's a sophomore. He's a redshirt sophomore. They would leave. They would transfer. And he hasn't. You know, he loves being here. He's an incredible teammate. He won the backup job. Him and Tony Rodriguez competed in fall camp for that. And as you referenced, he started a game last year against Stanford. He's capable of operating this offense. I think they do more zone read run game. If he was in the ball game, he's that type of athlete. Remember his brother played quarterback? He's at Vanderbilt.
At Vanderbilt, yeah. Yep. Austin. Jake Browning. 12 of 19, 163, 4 touchdowns. But he doesn't look pleased.
He's an impressive young man. He's such a competitor. And, you know, we say this all the time, right? The team takes on the personality of the head coach. He's exactly like Chris Peterson. The way he talks, the way he interviews, the way he competes, the way he prepares. I mean, he's an absolute film junkie. He's the guy who's in that facility 24/7, especially now. Remember, they're not in school till the 28th of September.
Carter-Samuels waiting, going to his third receiver, just short of a first down. Browning, they called him the Folsom Flash in high school, and he was tremendous at the prep level. A 2-time California Gatorade Player of the Year. He threw 91 touchdowns as a senior. Most guys don't throw that many in a career. And then talking about his career, I mean, ridiculous numbers, 229 touchdowns, and did it in 3 years.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
That's a national record.
He was one of the most ridiculous high school players in the history of high school football, especially with the advent of the throw game and the offense. Oh, we got the ball on the turf.
Ball got loose. They're going to hold on to it. Fuller coughed it up.
But I'll tell you what's most impressive about him, where he's really taken his game to the next level this year, is his deep ball accuracy. Last year when you watched him on tape, we called a bunch of his games. When he'd get the ball down the field, he would struggle sometimes being accurate. And he went to work this offseason with Jonathan Smith, the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. And now he can get the ball up and down. He can get the nose of the ball to turn over. And that's really hard. I mean, go out in your backyard if you want. Stand 10 yards between somebody and put somebody in the middle, try to throw it over him. Throw it over a broom. That's one of the hardest things to do. He really went to work on that. Now it's why his deep ball accuracy is what it's been through 3 weeks.
All the receivers say so. Say the ball arrives the way it's supposed to, on time, and he's got a feathery touch. Coleman's getting all the work right now.
It's going to be interesting now. Okay, you call this the proverbial preseason for UW.
Sure.
Okay, now they get going. You know, not only Arizona, but I look at this Stanford game, and September 30th. Well, that week is when they start school as well here at UW. And you could be undefeated top 4, top 5 in the country. They might be by that time as some teams continue to get knocked off. You know, they'll be favored obviously next week at Arizona. But that's a different shift. It's going to be interesting to see how it gets managed and how the student-athletes manage that.
Coleman tried to cut back, but there was more traffic on the opposite side. That'll be a loss. And right after the Stanford game, they're down in Eugene against the Ducks. And that would be, like, Oregon's a rival for Washington. People out of the Northwest might not know this. Of course, Washington State is your natural rival. And then you're always going to watch Stanford and SC. But Oregon, you know, that one's bitter on both sides. That's a border war between those two schools.
We were here last week, and Cindy, I'm sure you can hear it from the fans, but they would rather beat Oregon, I feel like, than win the Pac-12 championship.
Carter-Samuels to the corner. Fuller! It seemed like he couldn't get his right hand away. Artez Manning on the coverage, and they looked like they got locked up a little bit. He just puts up his left hand here.
Artez Manning on the coverage.
Tough to make that catch one-handed. Artez Manning's had a good game, actually. He's been tested.
How about this, though? I mean, for UW, 5 of the last 7 years, they've played Stanford and Oregon back-to-back. I mean, you couldn't find 2 more drastic styles to prepare for defensively if you're Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator. I mean, one, you are just getting punched in the face, power, but Stanford has some explosive ability, so you got to be disciplined. And then the athletes that Oregon has.
Carter-Samuels back to Fuller. And it's a catch. And that's a first down. There is a flag, forget it.
Replay, 4th down.
It was in the backfield and it kind of came in late.
I mean, think about that. 5 of the last 7 years. Scheduling gods. UW, Stanford, back-to-back. And this is the year, though. This is a year you wouldn't be surprised they won both those ball games. And these fans, I think, would love to win both, but if you got one of them, it'd be pretty impressive. I think Stanford's the most talented team in the Pac-12 conference, and through a couple of weeks, UW would be number 2.
I don't have to tell you what the hype's like in this town. People have jumped the gun on it, and Peterson doesn't like it. He tells everybody, you got to calm down. In fact, he told us what he's been telling everybody. We're an average football team right now. I don't know if you can buy that, but he's trying to temper everything. Keep in mind that UW has lost 6 games each of the last 2 years. So we're just getting started. We're in week 3. With their Extra Yard for Teachers initiative, Pac-12 is proud to partner with the College Football Playoff Foundation and recognize teachers across our conference this season. You'll see Extra Yard for Teachers come to life in each Pac-12 city as we shine a light on teachers who go the extra yard for their students. Portland State going to start right up against their own goal line. Down 35-3, just under 6 minutes to play. Washington looking for its 3rd straight win. Portland State lost last week. They open conference like UW does next week. Jim Watson and Yogi Roth, and we've been talking about teachers all day long on the Pac-12 Network. You have a teacher in your family.
No doubt. Yeah, my sister's a teacher, principal, and now superintendent in Brooklyn at charter schools out there. So always been around education. You know that. You're a lifelong learner.
Yes, I was. I was in college for quite a number of years, so I know a lot of teachers. And it's funny because I thought I knew it all as a kid, and teachers say this is going to come in handy. And here I am. I'm a sportscaster, so what do I use up here? I use math, statistics. I'm using history, and working with you, I'm using philosophy as well. So it all comes into play, right?
No doubt. I'll tell you, one of the best teachers, I think, in the last 30 years of college football is Chris Peterson. Not only how he teaches his players the fundamentals around the game, but how he teaches them off the field. You saw it on The Drive last night, which premiered on the Pac-12 networks, his Built for Life philosophy. And when you talk to the assistants, as we got to in pregame, they talk about how he coaches them. He coaches the coaches who coach the kids. Not a lot of head coaches do that. They don't sit in position meetings and continually critique, coach, engage, improve the assistants. And that is why he's built such an incredible program. Obviously at Boise State and here, I think it's got incredible length when you're talking about this program winning and winning and winning and winning. Are they going to be national champions? Who knows? But this is a team that is built for success, and these student athletes are continuing to reap those benefits when they learn Chris Peterson.
I read your document, that Built for Life, that Peterson espouses, and coaches always talk about that. Oh, we want to build great young men. But here's how I know that Peterson means it. He said he doesn't look at tape on a recruit until he looks at their transcripts. I've never heard a coach say that.
Well, he doesn't waver. He really doesn't waver. And I think when you look at the great coaches and you see that list right there, I got a chance, fortunately, to work with Pete Carroll, a chance to spend some time with him in Seattle earlier this week, and they don't waver on their approach. It doesn't matter who they're coaching, when they're coaching, win, lose, or draw. They're committed to their philosophy. Chris Peterson's the same way, and it wasn't easy when he got here. He took over when Steve Sarkisian went down to USC, totally different style than him. Some players bought in, some didn't, but he had to remain the course and remain steadfast, and he's an incredible communicator. I think sometimes people say, he doesn't love the media that much. I disagree. I think he's phenomenally likable. Yeah. He's great with us. He's great around the country. He's an incredible recruiter, but most importantly, he's a great teacher who's got real principles, and he doesn't waver.
I love the word consistency with any coach. They're going to need better consistency in the Pac-12. Now, you see that 8-10 record. Remember, first 2 years, he's getting his guys in here now. He's changed the whole approach. But look at the bottom of that graphic. 7 of the 10 losses to quality teams.
Well, no doubt. And finally, they got some explosiveness. I can remember the day he was hired. I flew up here and interviewed him, and we talked about the philosophy, the approach. And I said, how long do you think it takes? And in his opinion, he thought it took about 18 months for a philosophy to get truly entrenched within the program. You hit the ground running, you're in recruiting. Spring ball's here before you know it, just giving him the basics. Then the season's here, which was year 1 for him. Last year, they really bought into his approach. You saw some of those close games that they had a year ago. And now, finally, they got the missing link, which to me is explosive plays. And just take a look. Last year, they had 61 explosive plays over 20 yards. That was 9th in the Pac-12 conference. They had 10 coming into this game, 4 in the first half. add that to a disciplined defense that'll get after it. An incredible quarterback, an all-conference type quarterback who reminds you of Kellen Moore, right, with the way that he operates. Now explosiveness on the outside. If they can shore up their offensive line, not sure if it's this year because they're so young. They might be a year away, but they're going to be competing for Pac-12 championships and opportunities to get to the college football playoff.
Chris Peterson has led a team to a bowl game in 10 consecutive seasons, and he was the 5th fastest ever to 100 wins. He did it in 117 games to win 100 times, and he's tied for 5th. You know who he's tied with? Newt Rockne. Anytime your name's in the same sentence as Rockne, it's big time, and that's a touchdown for Greg. Well, let's check it.
That's Will Dissly.
Yeah,
How about
Will Dissly.
that? Former D lineman on the naked boot from KJ Carter-Samuels, gets him out the back door.
This is a guy who moved from defensive line to tight end in the spring. And Dissly wasn't going to be denied. The kid from Bozeman. Watch him make the move. Oh, that's balletic, isn't it? Steps through 2 tackles, stays in bounds, and gets inside the cone. And KJ Carter-Samuels gets a touchdown pass to boot. PAT goes wide. And for Van Winkle, first one they've missed this year. Here's Dissly. I mean, you just put some music bed underneath this. Keeps his feet. They're going to celebrate that one in the locker room, aren't they?
Oh, and they're just fired up for him.
Well, that's the thing about this team, and we've seen it. You know, everybody's getting involved, but they all celebrate for one another. And to me, that's how you can tell from the outside that these guys like each other, that there's good chemistry. You know, guys aren't walking off, I'll get you on the bench. They run down and meet him in the end zone. I mean, that's a touchdown for everybody, that one.
No doubt. And Sidney Brunson is on the sideline saying that all night long after every score, big play. The celebration is 1 through 105, and that's how you build a unique team and you build a program. And you get Will Dissly. By the way, he was a former wideout in high school. A dude had 55 grabs as a senior in high school, 11 touchdowns. So for him, he's like, man, it's been a while since I got to the end zone. I was on defense, put my hand in the ground.
So that's another Gatorade State Player of the Year at Bozeman High, right there on Main Street, downtown Bozeman. You know, Montana State wanted to keep him home, but had a chance to play at a huge program. 41-3. Zach Floyd banging his way out. This is how we built some chemistry yesterday. I don't know what you and I were thinking, but earlier in the spring, Washington, as a team building exercise, went and ran the Space Needle. That's 52 stories. And I thought it was a great decision by me to go with pants.
832 stairs later.
Now you and I both did it. It's 52 floors, 832. This is Washington. You and I did not lay down when we got up there.
No, we didn't. We probably didn't go as fast, and we didn't go through a leg workout like they did prior to that.
Probably not.
Remember, they finished their workout. They don't think they're going anywhere. They get on a bus. Oh, we're going to go to a movie. Maybe we'll have a picnic. They show up at the Space Needle, and they got to climb up and run up every stair. Impressive job by that squad, but the other element of Chris Peterson, just thinking outside the box, just trying to do a little something. The strength and conditioning coach, Tim Saha, it was his idea. He actually had his staff run it a couple days earlier.
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure. That's why all the players had gloves on. They wanted to make sure that they understood what it was all about. But what an iconic place, and a place to, build memories. And that's something they'll lean on come, maybe that Stanford week when it gets hard. And the coach can lean back on that experience, say, look, we've been at tough times at halftime, the third quarter, whatever it is. And we'll see how they draw upon that.
Caressa flushed again. He's been on the run a lot tonight, but he's been effective.
If they can remain healthy, right? If they can hopefully get Cam Sizer back, their starting center.
Santiago?
Well, Santiago, I think he's done for the year. But they'll have an opportunity to make some noise in their conference. And Bruce Barnum, that's what he's kind of preached. Last week against San Jose State, you mentioned earlier, 6 turnovers tonight. They've had 4. Didn't start off well when you go into somebody else's environment with the caliber
Game time,
as you
please
dug.
reset the game clock to 1 minute 39 seconds. The clock will start on the snap. 1:89.
I think he's finished. They have 45 guys back from last year, including 14 starters. they're an FCS. They're playing an FBS and a ranked team. This is a tall order for them. They get beat here 41-3. Did they learn something today? Can they get better out of this game?
Well, no doubt. I mean, you look at the first 2 possessions of the game, and they kind of just gave all of a sudden UW easy opportunities. They've had 3 times they should have blocked a punt today. There was opportunities for them all game long, not to necessarily get back in this ballgame and take advantage of it. And I think if you're a coach, you go back and you watch the film tomorrow, they're going to bust back tonight, and you just pull out about 20 plays. You say, look, this is what we could have done against, well, who knows what they'll be ranked tomorrow, UW. They might be top 6 team in the country. Who really knows? But you say, guys, look, these are the things that we learned, and I think that's going to be a big element for Bruce Barnum and his squad going forward.
I don't think Peterson wants to move up yet because he's still got their attention right now. You know, he was making a joke earlier when before the season started, they moved up in the power rankings and they hadn't even played a game yet. and he was making jokes about that. But listen, you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old young men, kids becoming young men. They read social media, they know, and you know, we've talked to some of the players. They say, oh, I'm getting hit on Twitter, and everybody's hitting me up on and talking about how good we are, and we're going to the, you know, we're going to be a Final Four team and all that. And to their credit, I think Peterson's message is resonating, and they're trying to push it aside. But how do you not start believing some of that?
Well, I think you have to embrace it. Say, all right, this is great, and it's exciting. It's great for the fans. It's great for our parents. It's great for the community. It's great for our campus. But you got to do the work. And, you know, we talked about it yesterday on the Pac-12 Network. They've got a philosophy here, and it's called prove it. You know, you got to prove it. You got to prove that you're worthy of playing on those stages. You got to prove it that you can go win those big games. And they all know it. And when you talk to Azim Victor like we did this week, you talk to Trey Adams, you get to meet Jake Browning, you talk to the staff, it's continually told to these kids, and not pounded into their brains as a negative, but saying, look, guys, we got to continue to prove it. And I think that they've embodied that throughout the first 3 weeks, and I think they'll learn from it.
Speaking of embodying, where they've been all night. That's the first time we've seen them.
Yeah, they're proving it. They're some of the coolest outfits I've seen all season. Let's save those. That's a 12 best nominee in my opinion.
Those are T-Rexes, I believe. 41-3. I love the comment. You know, when we were talking to Peterson, I'm taking notes like you, 3-4 pages, and one that I circled and I wanted to get on the air. You need to earn your confidence. I never heard that before, but it really makes a lot of sense, and it's what he talks about. The T-Rexes were impressed. Portland State still put up 182 yards of total offense, so something to build on for them as they go on to open Big Sky play at Southern Utah, the defending champions, for Washington and Chris Peterson at Arizona on Saturday. They're 3-0 in the non-conference. We know they can score. Now they got to go prove it in the Pac-12.
Well, it's finally on. It's conference play across the board in the Pac-12. We'll see what UW's all about. Top 10 team in the country. I think they have it. Some little things they got to clean up, but overall, a solid performance from Jake Browning, John Ross, and company.
That'll do it for us. For your producer, David Feldman, Tom Satursky, your director. For my partner, Yogi Roth, Cindy